I guess the neighbors are having a party again. I love these thin walls.
My smoke alarm went off at 3 a.m. and there was no smoke.
An ant colony is currently terrorizing my kitchen.
$89 for eye drops? That seems excessive.
Have such a good day.
Hey everyone, happy hump day or whatever day you're listening to this.
Happy hump day, Heather. That was a very sultry intro.
Very sultry hump
How's
day.
it going on this fine Wednesday?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's Wines Day. That's what I like to call Wednesday.
Well, that's our version of Wednesday. Anybody who wants to get on the Wednesday train, go for it. The beauty, though, of the show is that you could be listening at any hour or day
I love
that
it.
you choose, because this is a podcast and you make your own rules.
In fact, if you listen to it at a really weird time of day or a weird time of the week, let us know.
What would be
really
a weird
curious.
time of the week?
I don't know, like 4 in the morning.
4 in the morning on Tuesday.
Yeah, or like
If you're one of them 4 a.m. Tuesday folks, write us. Hi at havesuchagoodday.com. Although, hey, depending on what shift you work for work, or if you have insomnia, which I do, so, I've been there at the 4 a.m. podcast where I'm
haven't we all?
I'm so desperate. I just want to hear a voice I like.
I know.
I'm desperate
You
for
can always
sleep.
call me.
Thank you, Heather. I'll keep that in mind.
We
4
can-
a.m.
let's-
next Tuesday.
Let's do the voice Discord. That thing is cool.
Oh,
we need to
yeah,
use
I know.
that more.
So what Heather's referring to is that for our $10 a month patrons, patreon.com/have such a good day, we have a Discord, which, if you're not familiar, is sort of like a Slack competitor, or even an IRC chat client, really. It's the idea that you're in a room and you can assign various rooms to
It's a
various
fun
subjects to, a variety of people. And we want to chat with you.
And we can chat it up. It'll be super fun. And Discord is actually a really cool program. I think you'll enjoy it. It's aesthetically pleasing and it's cute. And they put these cute little messages every time you launch it.
They do. It also
Anyway.
is a very robust program.
It's amazing, yeah.
And you mentioned voice. We have text channels, which is sort of like traditional chat rooms. And then there's a voice channel that we're still kind of fleshing out
It's
what
trippy,
that
yeah.
might be like for the community for this show. So if you have any ideas, let us know. But yeah, good stuff going on there.
But anywho, welcome to the show, you guys.
Yeah, what is Have Such a Good Day anyway, Heather? Somebody
Well-
might be listening in or even watching
For the first time, maybe.
for the first
This is your
for
chance
the very
to...
first time. Sorry. I just, it just came out of me.
No, we'll bring this up later. We've got a couple little treats for you, a couple little snacks that we've
Speaking
been eating
of
that we want to
virgins,
share with you.
Stay tuned.
But you know what? I thought of something this week, Sarah, and I think this is an interesting way of putting it. This is your time to just kind of hang out with your good buds, me and Sarah.
That's right.
I like the way that describes our show because I think that's really what it's all about, is just hang out with us. Let's have a good chat.
Totally agree with you. And it's funny, as somebody, well, both of us who have worked in production, the first thing that we know, but even as an audience member that other people want to know is like, well, what's it about? Right? Like, is this for me? Are we going to share the same interests? And we're still kind of making it up as we go along, but on purpose. Because, this whole idea is an extension of Heather and Sarah, the actual people, just kind of chatting it up about all sorts of stuff, sharing life experiences, swapping notes when experiences differ.
Yep.
Trying to kind of comfort each other in, the tougher times
Yep.
and congratulate, in the better. So
Yeah.
that's the idea. The content, we're just throwing stuff in there that
we like, that resonates with us.
and we think other people care about too, and we
Exactly.
kind of don't get that anywhere else.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's also like, even for me this morning when I'm putting together my stories, I thought of you a lot. Like, I know that these are the questions I'm going to ask Sarah.
Right.
Because she's going to care.
Yeah.
So it's all just kind of a fun, sort of organic conversation.
And it's cool things. It's funny things. Sometimes it's like tough stuff. Sometimes it's, stories that don't necessarily make you happy. But hey, we're trying to grow a community here. And the whole idea is there are ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys.
Oh, yeah.
Troughs
Yin and yang.
ladders.
Black and white, night and day.
Yin and yang.
I said that already.
Oh.
So anyway, we're happy that you're here joining us today. You might learn a little something in the process by listening to us. You'll have fun and enjoy some chips with us, but you'll also maybe learn something. So
Yeah. At the very least, we're commiserating.
we are.
At the very, our loftiest goal, we've all made each other a little bit happier.
Yeah.
So that's Have Such a Good Day, and we're so glad to have you here in whatever format. You might be listening, you might be watching as a $1
Yes,
a month
cheers to
patron.
you.
And everyone else, yes, cheers to you. We're drinking a little rosé, and you know what, Heather, we might as well get into the food portion of this because we decided to get weird food for
We
the
got some
show.
weird stuff. I mean,
Got some weird stuff. It starts with our wine label, which is it's called
it's a pretty boy. He's a pretty boy. There's a picture, a drawing of a man's pretty face.
but he's kind of
There's like a little hair dryer on here. A little hair dryer with a little smoke. There's a little piece of steak. There's a naked woman. There's an eyeball.
okay.
No, this is
Is that
interesting.
what makes a boy pretty? All of these things on his face.
But the Delinquent Wine Company. It's just a neat little label. You know what we'll do? We'll post it in the lens so you guys can take a look at it.
Yeah, there you go.
Since we don't have like close-ups or anything, so
Lens is a way we're kind of sharing little instant stuff on the fly on Patreon.
if you're a patron.
Oh, but Heather, the weird food doesn't stop there. We mentioned virgins. I broke out in Madonna a couple minutes ago. All right, so I've got a bottle of coconut water in my hand, and
It's a nice bottle.
it is a very nice bottle. I'm, sort of a fan of coconut water. It's always too sugary, but I keep trying all the brands. But this brand I've never seen before, and it's called Liquid Sex Virgin Organic Coconut Water. What in the
What a mouthful.
holy heck? What is that? In
Holy
fact, if anybody wants
We
to
should try it.
zoom in our video and has the opportunity to take a screenshot. That's really what it's called. Liquid Sex Virgin Organic Coconut Water.
It's kind of ridiculous.
All right. So what they're saying is this is like liquid sex because it's virgin coconut water. And then they threw organic in there too.
Yeah.
The problem is, first of all, I don't drink coconut water to be
Cool.
sexy. It's just not like,
No.
I'm not, liquid
No.
sex is, that's not how that
No,
works.
no.
But then if you put the word sex and virgin so close to each other, you're automatically like, oh dear, is everyone all right?
Yeah, it's weird advertising.
Yeah, like is like this.
But the woman at the store said it
but I-
was the most delicious coconut water. But we are going to test it ourselves right now in
We're
front
gonna
of you.
try the sex virgin. You
Yes.
ready?
Do it.
Okay.
I like the glug 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 noise.
Oh,
Oh,
it's good.
give me some of that.
It's really good.
I'm gonna try to do the glug in front of the.
That is the closest to drinking juice out of a coconut with a straw that somebody.
truly so good, because yeah, exactly. It's like thicker, not thicker.
I have
but
no
it's
idea
more
who even make
flavorful.
like this brand
That
is
is
like
so
some weird brand
good.
in Venice. Yeah,
So good. No, seriously, like
that
insanely
really
good.
tastes like coconut, like real coconut water, not crappy coconut water.
like you really taste the coconut, like in a good way. It's so good. It's a kind of meaty.
Well, you know what, Liquid Sex Virgin,
You
We're
made
in.
our day.
wow, that's delicious.
So Sarah, I want to know we've been doing these anecdotes. Tell us about yours this week. How's your week been?
Oh, you want to? Yeah. So I it's funny. I know that you recently got a tattoo,
Oh, I did.
and this doesn't really have anything to do with my anecdote, but I have one as well. Well, it's actually two, but they're in the same place, so it just seems like one tattoo. But I got a long time ago when I was way
Tramp
young.
stamp?
Yeah, it is. It's on my lower back. That's where it went when I was much younger. And I don't dislike it, but why not cover? Sometimes the tattoo covers. I mean, you never know that they're covering anything. Like cover art
Sure.
is like its own thing.
Oh, totally.
And I love the idea of just like putting something else there.
Yeah.
So it's not so permanent, It's like, hey, I've had it for like 18 years. So I've been thinking about, what I would like to put there. And it has to be something fairly large because, again, you're covering up something else
And
that's
it's
already
green
there.
and blue, right? It's like a
Yeah, but the color is, they can get creative with that
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
But I find that I am crippled by tattoo choice. Now, first world problem, maybe even 0.5. I mean, like, this is like me like
Move the
trolling
decimal point.
Instagram looking for like tattoo accounts is like could be worse. But I really am. It's so funny because it is permanent.
Well, yeah,
you don't want to get it wrong.
I had the same thing with mine. I mean, it took me a long time to get this. This is my first one, and it's really simple. But it did take me a long time to decide what that would be. And it's not I don't know. I know a lot of people who make the quick decision, and they kind of wing it and they go in there and they're like, this is what I want. And they commit. And I'm like, I can't believe you got that tattoo. It wasn't really thought through, but they still love it. I mean, I don't know. I think
I've seen a few of those too. But then there are also the people who are like, I don't like overthink this stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes like someone will have like a lot of tattoos and I'll be like, what's that? Chicken thing about, it'd be like, I don't know.
I just like the way it looked.
Yeah.
It has no like significance really.
So it depends on the person.
I agree.
Some people can kind of pull that chaos
I agree.
off.
I don't know.
I don't think I can.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want it to be, if I'm going through the trouble and the pain, quite frankly, because
yeah.
your skin is like really thin down there.
Mine was 5 minutes, and that was like, I really wanted to understand the pain of a tattoo. It was more of a curiosity thing for me. 5 minutes was enough. Like, I don't know how people sit there and get their rib cages done like for hours,
Yeah. Well, sometimes, you have to do it in rounds.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, it's too much.
Yeah.
Like it like make you sick.
Well, it's funny. I'm glad that I think you should keep us posted on that, on the inspiration that you're, trying to pull for this tattoo.
I will. I don't know what I'm inspired by. I will tell you. Probably not in a tattoo way.
You don't want a dill pickle tattoo? What do you mean?
Yeah, a dill pickle. What could that look like?
Or what about a fried egg? I think that would be funny.
Can you imagine someone being like, what the hell? No, it's a dill pickle. It's just a dill pickle
Like,
that I tattooed on my body.
That's not what I see.
It looks like something else here. That's inappropriate. I have kids. Dill pickle, kettle chips.
They are really good.
By the way, nobody's sponsoring us. We're in a weird food mood, and that's a weird food.
We might bring some weird food to you every week because we actually go and get snacks every time we do a show. And it's always a different adventure, like every time.
And it's
kind of funny.
It's always like, yeah, these are weird chips. Have we had these? We should have them.
Yes.
Because we don't know what they taste like. Which is really, it's a real metaphor for the show.
I think that you really need to like dill pickles, but it doesn't get old. I mean, I don't think it does. I love pickles, and I could eat the whole bag. I would eat the whole bag, but then I'd feel terrible about myself. So
don't worry about it. It's cool. I mean, great crisp.
I know, it's real good. So I was also crippled this week, Sarah. Maybe those 2 crutches in your closet will come in handy.
Maybe
We're both crippled. But I don't know what it is. Like I'm pretty good at, like, if I need to buy clothes for myself, I know what I like. I love jeans and a t-shirt. I don't have any hesitation when I find something that I like. When it comes to a sophisticated dress for a wedding as a guest, I don't know what it is. I have a very hard time finding that for myself. And I don't feel comfortable because I feel like I don't ever pick anything that's right or appropriate. And so I kind of get a little OCD about it.
Well, you're such a sharp dresser. So, like, what is it about? Is it the formality that you feel like you're going to, like, overdo it or underdo it?
I think that a lot of the dresses are so, like, they remind me of, like, business suits. They're very, like, I find them to be boring. And I want something maybe with a little bit more unconventional cut or whatever. And so, I don't know. It's funny. But I wanted to tell you this crazy story. So, in my crippling moment last night when I realized that what I had wasn't appropriate, I went onto Amazon and I found a dress that is kind of one of your typical, like, kind of a shoe-in option for a wedding guest. And it said 1-day shipping because I'm leaving for a wedding on Friday. So I was laying in bed.
I will be at that same wedding.
Yes, we're going together. We're like a 2-headed hydra. We're like inseparable.
We will be carpooling to the wedding together. By the way, I don't have a dress yet, but continue.
Well, you can borrow one of mine.
All right.
But the crazy thing was I was in bed. It was like 11 p.m. last night. I'm scrolling through Amazon thinking, God, just let me get something last minute. Maybe it'll work and I can always send it back, right?
Sure.
So I bought it It arrived at my house at 1:00 today. Can you believe that? How insane is that? This is like a dress for a wedding. It arrived in less than 24 hours. I mean, unbelievable. Like, where was this stocked? Like, where was this dress? It must have been nearby. There's no way they took an airplane to ship this thing. It's so amazing.
Well, I mean, you got it from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, this is sort of the like mind-boggling beauty of, and also the reason that it's the beauty of Amazon. It's also the reason that Amazon is just, crippling smaller versions of what it stocks, because things like this are actually possible. And I mean, so much merchandise, just the volume of it in warehouses.
Well, they were
all
even
over
saying
the place
on NPR yesterday, I find this so fascinating. They're talking about how Uber and Lyft are clogging the roads, but so are Amazon trucks and delivery trucks, because
Who's talking about Uber and Lyft clogging the roads?
Well, like different cities, there was like some taxi drivers that were, on the radio show in San Francisco. And the roads have gotten more clogged.
The taxi drivers are going to say, of course they're going to say
Yeah.
it. It's usually a one-to-one thing.
Yeah.
If someone's driving me somewhere, it's because I'm not driving my car.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a bit of a thin argument.
Yes, I agree. But anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, but you mentioned that delivery trucks are part of the issue as well. I think there's something to that.
Well, they have this whole thing where you can't really turn left in LA. I don't know why the city is structured this way, but when you turn left, you have to wait for the light to turn red, essentially, to turn left, because there's so much traffic coming in the other direction. So a lot of these FedEx trucks, they route themselves so they never take a left in LA. It's nuts. I think it was a podcast that I listened to.
Oh, that's interesting.
Super interesting to me, because
there are, and I know a lot of other cities are set up this way, especially when it's like high volume traffic and multi lanes. And yeah, you're right. It's like you just got to inch out there, and then it turns red, and so you're technically in the way, and then you get out of the way as soon as possible, and it, for the most part, works.
it's kind of nuts though.
But I don't like doing it.
No.
It's always like slightly stressful because I'm worried like someone will T-bone me.
Yep.
But as a delivery driver, one would think, just because you're probably spending a lot of time on the road and you have a bigger vehicle, so you have to be more aggressive, or like no one's going to let you in. Some of those drivers, I'm like, hold the.
It's like you're like a
Pump the
millimeter.
brakes.
You're like a millimeter away from an accident, and you're like, oh my god.
Right, because it's like they're just trying to get there, and they're used to it. And I like to think I'm a good driver. I have been told I am not by a hater or two over the years, but I like to think that I'm a good defensive driver. But I know what's up.
But you're
I
not
know
aggressive.
what's happening. I'm not aggressive. No, I don't like ragey driving by anybody, but that's because I care about people.
Yes, you do. You're very you have a big heart.
No, I err on the side of like if there's a blind turn, I'm like, there's no reason to like just hope somebody's not on the other side. Like, think that they are, and then
I'm
you're
impressed
safer.
that you're that patient. I'm kind of the opposite. I wouldn't say I'm aggressive, but I am assertive, and I will take risks. I will.
I would say you're a riskier driver than I am.
Riskier, and I don't know where that comes from. Is that from my dad? Like, is it a DNA thing? Is it like how you learned how to drive? I find that kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, this will go into like some weird anxiety spiral that we can save for another time. But I will say, and this is a really weird thing, it's like the same way that people are uncomfortable on bridges because they have a sensation of like, what if I jumped off? Like, I don't want to, but like, I can't stop thinking about it. I hate this bridge. I want to get off of it.
Yeah.
Totally have that.
Yeah.
Because once you like think that weird thought, you're like, I don't like this, like I'm like freaked out. That is the same thing sometimes with me and driving, especially when I know a lot of other people are like, they're not necessarily good drivers. And once you think to yourself, oh, if this person just were like to like veer into me right now, like it'd be curtains.
Well,
and then you like think that, and then you're like, what's stopping them?
I know, especially in LA, like a very dense like city, people do all kinds of things, and you have to drive defensively.
Yes.
Anyway, we're getting off track here.
Yeah, we really are. Let's talk about Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram, which Facebook owns, announced new tools to help people like us, users of the networks, manage their time. This is the whole idea is to say, hey, we know you might be concerned that social networks are perhaps rotting your mind and making you hate everyone you know, and causing you to act like an absolute horrible troll. So let's give you a tool to make sure that you're like, ooh, I've gone past the 6-hour-a-week Facebook allotment for myself. Maybe I should give myself a notification that the app now provides to
It's almost
help
like
me.
an activity app. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm making a little bit light of a very serious topic, which is that there is a big conversation going on right now. We've talked about it already on previous episodes of this show. That social networks there are behaviors that like really upset other people. People behave badly because there's anonymity, or at least not kind of looking you in your eye, real time stuff going on, and just even kind of darker societal things like the idea that there's bullying and election meddling and all sorts of stuff that is a bigger part of the conversation, particularly on Facebook, but obviously Twitter and a lot of other networks would be the same. So my question to you, Heather, is, okay, so if Facebook gives you a digital well-being screen, yay, which is like, okay, here's this, we're Facebook. We don't want you to like think the network's bad. We want to give you these tools to make us a little warm and fuzzy, or warm and fuzzier if possible, so that you can feel like you're kind of back in charge of your online life.
Yeah.
What would be the ceiling for you? Like if you were to see 4 hours a week I spent on Facebook last week, would you freak out and need to,
Like if I saw that for myself?
yeah. Like what would be like not good, not
Like
healthy?
the amount of hours.
Yeah.
I would say, let's see, 4 hours. I would say 4 hours is a lot for, I think probably 3 hours would freak me out a little bit.
Per week?
Well, because if you think about it, like I would hope that I'm only using it, let's just say Instagram. How much? So what does that break down into days? Because if I'm using it, 30 minutes a day. Okay. That I think I might be okay with.
Yeah.
30 minutes to an hour a day. Okay. So I'm wrong on my
So
calculations.
it'd be more than 3 hours per week.
Sure. But that's crazy when you actually add it up and you think about it weekly, because that's a lot. That's so let's just say an hour a day, 7 hours a week. That does seem like a lot.
Well, because it's a whole night's sleep.
Yeah.
That it always comes back to like, how many, is that a good night's sleep? Have I robbed myself of a good night's sleep somewhere in the last week? Because if so, I need to change some behavior.
Yeah.
Because I don't sleep enough. But I'm with you at the same time. I'm like, 3 hours a week. I mean, I'd be high-fiving myself. Like, that's basically 0 hours a week. 3 hours a day on Facebook can go away like that for me. Because I like to stalk. Nah, I'm just kidding. But no, I really think like you look up and you're like, when did the sun go down? Have I been like looking at weird things on Facebook this whole time?
Yeah.
It is easy to let your day get away from you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many of those things nowadays, though. I mean, we could go on and on about all the time wasters.
I think the only other maybe positive. Listen, having a tool like this, Facebook isn't going to require you to like give yourself a time limit. You don't have to use any of these tools. It's a goodwill measure from the company. And it's also something that if you do care about your online life and not spending too much time on networks that you don't feel are fruitful or for whatever reason is robbing your time rather than enriching it, this is great.
I think it's great stats for Facebook too. I mean, they're probably doing it for themselves first and foremost, but like for them to see, like, oh wow, these people are using. Well, they already know that.
They already know that, but they don't necessarily know what your number is of.
That's
this
true.
is my scary number.
Yeah,
of
totally.
time on Facebook, and that's actually
true. That's super important.
That is a valuable data
Oh, yeah,
point.
definitely.
Because if it just says something about you.
Yep.
So, all right, you
Very interesting.
Point Facebook as usual. I will Yeah. I can't curb my online activity. It's like,
Yeah, no,
that's
you
not
can't.
that's not self-discipline.
You're always stalking me, Sarah. Just, just single white femaling me all the time.
The green dot, like why is Sarah always on
Did
Facebook?
you order the same wedding dress that I got?
No, I don't have one. I will be arriving nude. I'm sure they'll love that.
I'll make sure to record it.
Please.
Anyway, so I'm going to talk a little bit about poll results from a poll that I posted about a week ago. Some of you...
Wait, where'd you post the poll?
I posted the poll on patreon.com/havesuchagoodday, which is our platform.
Yes.
And it's really a fun platform. I'm really into it. And I need to post more stuff. I owe you guys a lot more posts, but I'm really into these polls. This is the second one I've done. I really wanted to hear from everybody. You know, podcasts are having a moment, as we all know. There's so many apps to choose from now. And you know, most of the apps cover the basics. They try to find you new podcasts according to your interests, and you can create playlists, you can order them in the way you want. There's a lot of basic, features in all of these podcasts. But what I wanted to know from you guys is what you're using, because we're on most of these platforms, but we personally use certain apps, and we wanted to know where you're listening to our show and your other favorite podcasts. So the winner of this poll is Pocket Cast, and you know, neither Sarah or I had this. We haven't been using this. I think, you know, I've been using Stitcher and Overcast, and I don't know, Sarah, I think do you use Google?
Just Apple Podcasts.
Just Apple, okay.
I mean, I test out podcast apps all the time, but I always kind of default back to that these days.
I think that I was it's $3.99. It costs $3.99, so I think maybe that's why a lot of people aren't that familiar with it, because it isn't free, and most of these podcast apps are free. But I actually took it for a spin. I've had it for about 3 days now, and it's funny because Sarah has always been the one to review apps. If you were a Pop Siren viewer from back in the day, that was Sarah's wheelhouse. I was, more comic books and music.
Still is. Heather.
Some things never change.
Still reviewing those apps. But it's true. It's when, we were like, this is actually a really helpful poll.
Oh, super helpful.
Because we just want to know where people want to hear the show.
We want to make sure that you can hear it where your favorite places.
Exactly.
To listen to podcasts,
I mean, if you're spending $1 on Patreon because you want the video version, then you'd go to Patreon.
Sure.
But our podcast itself, our audio podcast that you're listening to right now, is free. So we want to make it available, as Heather said, on so many platforms. And I mean, a lot of this stuff just comes out of iTunes, the RSS feed that you feed into iTunes. And I believe Pocket Cast is...
I believe so.
Is one of those apps. So, all right, Heather, as somebody who test drove this... I haven't even seen it. I've never used this app before. So for $4, which a lot of people, it's going to turn people away, right?
Yep.
Because you have other options. What's so great about it?
Well, first and foremost, I have one thing that's really simple that I've struggled with these other apps is I always want to put my finger on the icon of the podcast and just move it to where, like, if I want to move my favorite one up to the top, Have Such a Good Day, or like Mark Maron's podcast, I want to just move it. You'd think that you could do that, but you can't do that with a lot of those apps. This one you can. You have this grid.
Really? Even if you hold?
Yeah, it's awesome. And you can move it.
No, I mean, in other podcasts, like, that's not...
Well, yeah, but this one's a different grid. It's like, it's almost like a game. Like, it has it's like a full screen grid. I love it. Like, you can see more of your podcasts on it, like, at one glance. It's very customizable. I think more customizable than other apps. You can actually... It's kind of cool. So you can sync across multiple devices. It's like this OPML file. I'm sure you're familiar with that, Sarah, but you can like download it so that you don't have to re-add all of your podcasts, which I did it that way. I didn't do the OPML file, but that's an option. There's a really cool thing you can...
Yeah, the whole point of that is like, what if you had, 30 podcasts and they've all been organized real nice?
Yeah.
And you want to port them over Pocket Cast.
You will probably want to do that. One thing that's really cool is they have this, like, in your settings, you can set how you want to fast forward and rewind. So like, say because I don't know if I often will, rewind 15 or 30 seconds, but you can set that. So say you want it at like your standard rewind at 45 seconds. You can set all that, which I think is pretty cool.
That is cool.
One of our patrons, Jake Adams, shout out to him. Hey, Jake, he uses Pocket Casts, and he says that just for a giggle, there's a stats feature that tells him how long he's been listening to podcasts, which I think is really cool. And he's sitting at 131 days, 23 hours since October 6, 2016. And again, it goes back to the the Facebook thing. Having your own personal stats is pretty cool.
Well, is it just a running tally of how much he's collectively listened to, or does it break down
I don't know.
sessions?
I haven't looked at my own because I haven't used it
Date
enough more than like
ranges.
2 days.
All right,
so
well.
I'll have to report back on that. But I love it. I honestly, I love the interface. I think the interface is kind of a lot. It's more aesthetically pleasing. It feels easier to use. It feels like I feel like it is worth the $3.99. It feels like an app that costs a little more money. It's like a little more upgraded.
Sure.
You know
That's
what I mean?
how I feel about Tweetbot, which is my Twitter client.
That's actually a good example because I've used that a lot. Tweetbot is like everything is so kind of beautiful, like it's all kind of encapsulated in like a really nice window. That's kind of how Pocket Cast is.
Yeah, I'm not going to always spring for, the $5 app if there's a good free option. And there are so many free
I know,
software
that's the
programs that
thing.
we use. I mean, we're definitely taking advantage of that. But yeah, I'm familiar with Pocket Casts just because I know a lot of people who use it and say, oh, it's the best one. So with your glowing
how did I
review,
do?
Heather, I think I'm $4 poorer.
Hey, it's less than half of your coconut water.
Oh, it sure is. That coconut water was $10. 10 bones.
We did it for the show today.
And the funny thing is that when we bought it, because of course we're like, liquid sex, virgin. What in the
We
heck?
had to do it. We had to do it.
But then it tastes so good. And the whole $10 thing was actually supposed to be like, that's why we'll never get this again. But now I'm like,
No, it's so good.
I want it.
I know. Well,
Oh my God, that's good.
it's really
I'm
ridiculous.
angry almost. It's so good. Like, why is that so good? Why have I suffered through bad coconut water all of these years?
So, Sarah,
Yeah.
I know that you like memes. In fact, that reminds me of
true.
we just posted our bios on our website, havesuchagooddday.com. Go check them out. It's on the About section, but we just launched that. We interviewed each other, so you get to read and be amused by our...
I love how you're like, just so you know, we just launched our bios on our About Us page. How about that, internet? Boom.
So accomplished.
Yeah.
We're doing things over here.
We're not just sitting around.
Okay, memes. I know you
All
like
right.
memes. You're a big animal lover too.
True
I know
story.
this about you.
Yes.
So you and I worked on the internet for the internet, did a lot of internet TV when the internet was launched.
Yes.
A long time ago. And wouldn't you say that the internet back then equated to cats?
Yes.
I mean, the internet was as weird as cats and vice versa. Lolcats.
I think of
I Can Ask
lolcats.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, and just early kind of like that funny
The early meme.
Yeah, and that sort of funny lol speak.
Yeah.
That ended up being something that people picked up in vernacular that had nothing to do with cats really, but
Which I still find funny when it's clever, obviously.
Me too.
But this is sort of interesting. I've been coming across a lot of these different articles and videos online. It's not like it's major news or anything. But what do you think that with the internet now just being more mainstream, like everyone's on the internet, they weren't back then. Do you feel that dogs or cats are more prominent online?
Oh, well, I mean, you're talking to somebody who probably follows cat accounts or cat focused accounts or cat positive accounts, maybe more than the average dog person. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that your answers would vary, but I still think that cats rule internet memes. However, dogs are gaining ground.
Doge.
Well, yeah, of course. There's
You can't not like the Doge.
sure the Doge, which was the Shiba Inu meme from years ago, which is kind of died.
Yeah.
But like it's still there's still.
Yep.
I don't know. I drop a Doge reference every now and then and be like, only cool dog people know.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, there might be a discussion to be had, Heather,
I think
about
there's-
whether or not cats still reign the internet.
I think there's speculation that there's more dog content, or people want more dog content because, you know, the world is a little crazy right now. Things are on fire, quite literally. Cats are more complicated. You have to work for their love. You know, they hiss. You know, there's the crazy cat lady thing, which has a negative connotation. But dogs are like simple and comforting. They're like man's best friend. There's a whole thing that I thought was really funny. They're saying that with this sort of, you know, resurge, or this sort of new kind of like dog content thing happening right now, there's these, they call them cat dogs. And these are kind of like my Charlie. They call them adventure cats. Where you take them out on leashes. There's a lot more video out there where owners are showing their cats trekking through the snow, or, you know, swimming doggy style,
Or just happily walking down the sidewalk.
yeah. And I think that because they sort of emulate dogs. They're looking out the window and, you know, blowing in the breeze. Anyway, I thought it was kind of a fun
What if
topic.
dogs are emulating cats?
Oh yeah, I think there are. You know, they were saying that dogs are better for video and cats are better for photos because dogs do.
Who's they?
Well, there was a myriad of articles I was reading.
I
People
see.
were saying that, like, well, dogs are just more interesting on video because they do these wacky things like.
Yeah, you're usually out and about with them more.
Yeah.
Chasing a stick and that
But I
sort
don't
of
know.
thing.
Cats do. I would say video for cats is equally as interesting. Can be depending on the cat.
You know, as a mother of two adorable but very naughty 11-year-old felines.
Bad boys.
Just, you know, once a day I'm like, we're out of here, going back to the pound. But no, but seriously, I mean, I take lots of pictures of my cats, and anybody who doesn't like cats would hate my Instagram account. And I actually kind of think about that, where I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? This is my life. If you don't like it, you can unfollow.
I think it might be 100 degrees in here. It's like so hot. I'm sorry.
It's summer. We're in my
It's warm.
apartment.
It's very
I
warm.
don't have air conditioning, and Heather and I are barely holding it together, for sure.
We're gonna do it though for you.
Speaking of barely holding it together, you know what I can't barely hold it together
What?
about is all of the weird stuff I've been watching lately.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, I've been watching movies and TV shows because I sometimes like to go into a little bit of a hermit existence.
Oh, yeah.
You know, over the weekend, sometimes I'm like, I might just
Not leave the house.
exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be a 12-hour Facebook day. And movies that I don't even really want to watch, but
Are you
I'm
okay
just
with that?
going to. Yeah. Oh my God, those are the best weekends of my life. So I'd like to bitch about a few of these
Yeah.
things, if I may.
Hit me.
And I won't take too much time on each, but we'll just go through them. So I finally saw Quiet Place, the movie, horror movie.
Yep.
Which is, I won't spoil anything because I know a lot of people haven't seen the movie yet, and I just saw it myself. Didn't go to the theater, was able to watch it in my living room quietly, alone.
Yep.
So, you know.
Quietly.
Yes, I was. The movie is you know, the very basic premise is it's a movie with a lot of silence.
Yes.
Because it's a movie about people escaping death by
Yeah.
being silent and monsters and the whole thing. So that movie was not unenjoyable. I actually thought it was very interesting and like. Somebody wrote this weird movie and, you know, they got made, and I was I was interested in how it was going to begin and
Sure.
end and the whole thing. But man, is that nonsensical. Because again, the whole idea is this family has to, you know, they have to be quiet in order to survive. A baby.
Oh, I know.
A
It was
newborn
ludicrous.
baby is
Totally.
part of the
Ludicrous.
Okay. You know, like you see that stuff like that and you're like, I'm suspending some disbelief.
You have to.
But like there was a lot of disbelief suspended.
I agree. I
you
agree.
know?
The one thing I do appreciate about that movie, I saw it alone in the theater. I actually have a thing for horror movies.
That's true.
I enjoyed it immensely, but I agree with you. It was sort of like Mother had the same thing where it's like, yeah, we won't even go into that. But the one thing I really appreciated about that movie is that I found out, because I usually dig into the behind the scenes and who's doing what kind of thing. The fact that the score was so little audio, the audio engineers who engineered this movie were like big budget Transformer audio guys, where it's like sounds at every corner of the screen. And those guys worked on this movie. I thought that was interesting. Like, they were curious, like, oh, well, what if we stripped it all down?
Sure.
And just had no mute, or, like it's actually like, what an interesting process that must have been for these music people. I'm fascinated by stuff like that. Because they're really flipping the switch,
At the same time, though, and I'm with you for sure, and I was paying a lot of attention to that because I knew that it was a movie about audio.
Sure.
And lack of, and when, and the whole thing. There's quite a bit of audio layering going on in that movie.
For sure.
Now, that has nothing to do with the plot that I think is a bunch of horse shit. But the movie itself is, it's fair. That's maybe the most interesting part of it is like, how did they, because sometimes it's truly silent and it's uncomfortably silent, and then sometimes it's, and
it's a lot of texture.
There's some dramatic moments, yes, where you hear quite a bit of building.
You need to watch Hereditary, and let's talk about plot.
Okay.
Maybe next week we'll do that.
Hereditary? Yeah. All right. Well, to wrap up my bitch session, and I don't even have anything more to say about Avengers Infinity War, except that it was 100 hours too long.
I can't believe you even saw it.
I did.
I mean, that boggles my mind. You're not even a comic book movie person at all.
It's true. Like, I watched it with a friend who really wanted to see it, and that's why. And that's fine. And I actually thought it was pretty fun. It's a fun movie. This is the sort of movie that we don't have to talk about comics too much, but it's the sort of movie that like really matters to somebody who cares about the universe and the look what they did. Oh, there's an inside joke and so these superheroes don't like each other or whatever. I don't get any of that stuff, but I still thought it was entertaining. However, 100 hours too long. And not a minute less. And then finally, if we're going to go over to the TV side, there's that new Sacha Baron Cohen show called Who is America?
Yes.
I haven't watched I've only watched a couple of the first 2 episodes. And Sacha Baron Cohen, of course, was L.E.G. He was Borat.
Brilliant.
He's made a name for himself being not only a comedian, but somebody who can sort of transform into lots of different characters and often sort of fool people into saying things that they regret later. Sometimes it's politically charged. This show very much is politically charged because it's about the idea of who compromises the U.S. these days, and who are those people, and
getting these people to admit what the wrongdoings,
and even the ways that people might think that you think but you don't know. Anyway, I think that it's a very poignant show, and I think there's a certain element of it where I'm like, wow, I'm actually impressed by the fact that you sat down with this politician and like, but there's a weird, I don't care who it is, even if you're pranking somebody that I don't like, there's a weird discomfort that I have if I were to be in, disguise and I sit down with you and you don't know it's me and I've fooled you. I find that like mean-spirited in a way where I can't watch it.
Well, I just don't believe that they don't know what's going on. I mean, if you bring a camera crew into, I'm sorry, some of them might be just like dense, but like that is, the whole time I was thinking that maybe that's the producer in me, but I was like, someone rolls in a camera crew and they're like, we're going to shoot this. My wheels would be spinning. Like, why are they shooting this?
Well, the idea is that they're always shooting it for some fictitious thing that doesn't exist. So you would know that the camera crew is part of it,
and they probably embellish this whole thing.
I think it's like, maybe it has something to do with my like own like weird, like, don't humiliate me in a performance setting or something. But like the idea that you'd be like fooled like that and then laughed at later. Yeah. And it's this premise that Sacha Baron Cohen has been doing this for years. I mean, this is his whole thing.
Yeah.
To the point where, probably more often than not, people are in on the joke and just pretend that they're not.
Yeah, because he's been around for so long. He's known for it, you know. So you would think that people would be like, he vaguely looks like Sacha Baron Cohen, that guy, that tall comedian guy.
Yeah.
Because he kind of does. I mean,
right.
His disguises are funny.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I see it. I mean, maybe because I'm so familiar with his work, and
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm a little behind. Again, only saw a couple of episodes. Found myself uncomfortable to the point where I'm like, I'm bailing out of this.
I
just don't, you know, like it's like there's parody and there's something else, and this is that something else that I don't enjoy it for anybody's sake. Although there have already been a couple of people who have resigned from positions of power because of the show. So again,
that's kind of great.
That's probably. He's more concerned about that than someone like me being like, you're making me uncomfortable.
There was some interesting props from, I think it was the Dick Cheney interview on eBay, selling for like tens of thousands of dollars or something. I actually looked today and they were taken down.
Oh.
But that was kind of amusing.
Interessante. Well, anyway, that concludes my bitch session.
I liked it.
About today's movie and television entertainment.
5 stars.
5 stars. Thank you. Thank you, Heather. So if you want to keep up on all of our new episodes, we've kind of talked about some of your options, but let's remind you now. First of all, havesuchagooddday.com. That's where we post all of our audio episodes. That's where you can easily subscribe to the show. Lots of links there. We try to make it as helpful as possible for you. We also believe in the power of Patreon. Heather, why is that? Why do we?
It lets us be community-based and ad-free. So we don't have those annoying breaks where we throw ads at you and you have to wait. You have to like put your mute on and take your headphones off.
Well, you don't do that, right?
I do sometimes. Really? I hate ads because it breaks up the narrative for me. I like want it to be a continuous narrative, and TV's so bad about that too. Well, this is a different subject, but it'll go right into a commercial and it'll match kind of the last shot a little bit, so it like tricks your mind, like, oh, I thought that was part of the show. They do it so that it's like this weird thing. It's like abrupt, but also kind of calculated. I can't stand that because I want to continue my narrative. I don't want to be interrupted. Anyway, you won't be interrupted by ads watching our show and becoming a patron. If you haven't seen our page, we're at patreon.com/havesuchagooddday. And with your help, we are able to do this every week, and we thank you.
Yes, we do. Patreon.com/havesuchagooddday. So many options there, and thank you so much to our patrons that have been super supportive of us so far. We're growing slowly, but surely, kind of by design, and kind of because, again, we want as much feedback as we can to make this into the show that we all love and come back to with each other each week.
I want to mention, actually, we got a Discord. A lot of people at the $10 and below can join us on Discord, which we mentioned at the top of the show.
Well, $10, not below.
Just $10, sorry. Yeah, not below. $10 and above. We had someone kind of pop in today to say that he's listening to us on the way to his new office and his new commute, which I thought was really sweet. He said it makes him happy. And he is KJB26. I don't know what your name is, but we love ya.
KJB. Sounds like some sort of a spy agency.
Uh-oh.
What? But okay, yes. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who supports the show. And again, havesuchagooddday.com is where you can use as a jumping off point to subscribe to the show, or just, I don't know, go there once a week and listen to the new episode. We don't care. We just
come and hang.
Hope you like it.
Come and
hang.
And
if you have feedback, you let us know. Hi at havesuchagooddday.com.
Yes, and we will be posting things on the little stories app for your viewing pleasure. Hopefully, maybe one a day. We'd like to get to doing one a day, so we'll see about that. Sarah, I know how much you love space from last week's episode. We had a discussion about, are you a sea or a space person? And Sarah's
I'm a woman of the sea.
Even though I'm the one that's jumping in the sea. I still don't understand that, but I'm a woman of space. I'm a woman of the world. I like sea also. But I wouldn't be holding up my sort of like science nerd, persona here on the show if I didn't bring in some science news into this episode. So,
all right, let's do it. What's going on in the science world?
The big space news. This isn't. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about this, but some scientists have discovered a large body of water under an ice cap on Mars, and it is the first. It's 12 miles wide underground and 1 mile deep. Sarah, water is life. Don't forget that.
Coconut water's life, that's for sure. Man.
I think this is really cool. So they detected it by radar, but apparently, maybe it took them this long because there's a lot of things that really mess with radar signals, including, ice caps are very complicated. There's layers and layers and layers of Earth, and who knows? We're not sure what this really means. I mean, aliens maybe, but the likeliness of the water not being the water is going to be very salty. Therefore, things are probably not going to grow in there, but it's possible that they have. I'm not sure when we'll find out. Maybe they will just show up on our doorstep. But I think it's really interesting. These scientists, they study Antarctica because it has a similar barren surface. And one of the things that they had found really deep under the surface, kind of like those mollusks we talked about a couple weeks ago, there's these little sort of microbes that live deep under these layers of Earth, and they never see the light of day for hundreds of thousands of years, and they eat rocks for energy to survive. Yeah. I think that's crazy, and it's super humbling, all this science stuff, and here we are worried about silly things like Facebook.
I wish I could eat rocks and be cool.
Not break your teeth.
I got some rocks outside. I don't really want to go to Whole Foods tonight. Can I just eat some rocks? And it would take so long to break down, right? So it's you'd be full for a while.
No, but you would adapt. These microbes, they've adapted to eating rocks.
Sounds amazing. I'm down. I guess you just have to swallow a rock that, you knew was going to be, but then a rock gets caught in your throat and it's a real issue.
You'd have to have the right teeth to break it down.
This is a really weird story, and I've not thought about it.
It's real hot in here.
Summer.
Sweaty.
Summer at the beach.
Woo!
I've not thought about this in a very long time, but I once swallowed a garlic clove. I peeled it.
Okay.
But I swallowed it whole because I had just read something about how it was really good to have a lot of garlic in your system. And I was like, I don't feel like making anything and putting it in my food right now. So I'll just swallow it whole. That's cool. And it got stuck in my throat. I was alone. I was at home, and I remember being like, "This is how I die. this is how I'm going." Because I was like, "Oh God, I'm going to choke to death." I didn't. It went down.
Girl chokes on a clove of garlic.
It actually hurt really bad.
Oh, yeah, I
don't
bet.
do that.
No. In fact, I have a hard time. I almost choked to death by eating an apple in London on a shoot, actually. Because you take too big of a bite and you don't chew it well enough and you're hungry and you swallow.
Ooh,
it
and they
gets
got that.
stuck. And then you can't breathe. It's one of the worst feelings ever.
No, ever since that moment, every time I peel garlic or crush it or do anything with garlic, which is often, I think about the moment that I almost killed myself.
You can't erase it from your memory.
Trying to add garlic to my diet in a way that one might swallow a rock.
Don't do that. They might think it's suicide or something.
I don't know about this water on Mars, Heather. I do know that the supposed salt content because of the liquid nature of it would make sense. I don't know. I mean,
it's hard to say.
I know scientists who study these sorts of things know a lot more than I do about the possibility of life. But I'm like, let's find out who the little salty creatures are, because there's some little creature in there.
Oh yeah,
just living,
little buddy,
just living on Mars, real cold,
real cold.
I
mean, they were saying I think that I want to say that the temperature of this lake is supposedly 90 degrees. It was some crazy number that was so cold. It must have been, it was negative 90 Fahrenheit or something like that. Just insane.
Yeah, it would seem like it
would how can anything grow in there? Anyway.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to Mars, so you let me know. If you find a little salty creature, bring him back. Maybe he's cute.
Sarah.
Yes, Heather?
Every time I get a ping every time we get a new patron.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you look at that, but I love it.
We both get notifications. Yes,
it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It really does. Like honestly, because you're like, who's that? Like you see their name and
yay, like new friends.
Yeah, like maybe you're like some of the people you know, and then some of the people you're like, oh, like don't know that person. New friend, yay. Anyway, so I wanted to remind you guys that we have a lonely new tier, Heather versus the Sea. I wanted to emphasize, because I'm not sure that I did last show, that just because we live in Los Angeles where the weather is very hot, the Pacific Ocean is very cold. People wear wetsuits year round. Let me just emphasize that it is cold. It will make me suffer. If you pay $250 a month, you will see a funny video of me jumping into the water with my clothes on, and there'll be something different about it every single time. Maybe we'll do a slow-mo. Maybe we'll do a boomerang. I don't know. Maybe there'll be some props. It'll be a real good time. So, if you've got a little extra, you've got 250 pennies lying around, might go for a good cause. Could buy more coconut water.
Well, it'd be more than 250 pennies. So that would be not what would get Heather into the sea.
It would be a lot more. But if you had 250, you'd be on your
the
way.
road. Yeah, that decimal point is always so tricky. But no, it's true. We actually had Justin Robert Young, who is a fellow podcaster of ours, friend of the show,
What's up, Justin?
Also hanging out in Discord, and hosts politics, and also is on Daily Tech News Show with Tom and Roger and I, often twice a week. Love the guy. He's been very supportive as of many people, and said, you know what you need to do? You need to remind people that like they're not going to like a bathtub and like leisurely being like, ooh, let me like body surf. Heather will suffer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's where your money's going.
I'm not going to want to do it. I'll guarantee you.
And that's what's important. If you pony up, Heather will suffer.
And it'll probably be funny.
Well, I hope so anyway. We also want to know if you have any crazy ideas for things that we could do to further the show content, add more perks for patrons, because of course we specifically want to make sure that anybody who's contributing to the show, because that helps us keep going.
Oh yeah, for
is
sure.
as happy as possible. We want everyone to have such a good day across the board. So we would love to hear more of your thoughts. We will take them into consideration, and if you're nice, we may even incorporate them. Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. You can check out everything at patreon.com/havesuchagoodday. And there are tiers. There are goals. We're working toward a variety of goals now. Check them out. See if you like where we're going, and we will continue to think of more. Again,
for sure.
Our podcast is free. iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Pocket Cast. Pocket Cast, the app is not free.
No.
But the content that we provide absolutely is. Google Play Music. The list goes on. We are omnipresent, and we do that for you, our modern listener / viewer.
One of these days, we're going to have a billboard in LA, and it's going to be fabulous.
We are?
Yeah.
Where would you like your billboard to be? Is there like a specific billboard where you're like, ooh, Sunset and Vine?
Well, like somewhere on Sunset, because that's like the big real estate. That's like where all the Netflix. I think Netflix owns like the lion's share of like the Sunset Boulevard stuff, because all those comedies, series and stuff.
It is a billboard heavy strip.
It really is.
The Sunset Strip. For anybody who's not familiar with LA, it's kind of that.
It's usually the biggest movies. You would see the Infinity War on there for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's where I want to be.
I think I don't know if I want to be a Sunset Strip billboard, Heather. I think we're a little bit more indie than that.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
Maybe we should pick a billboard you've never heard of.
Maybe like on the corner of Venice and La Cienega, because they have like 4. We could do 4 on the 4 corners, like a quadrant. So that wherever you look.
I hate that one though, because you got the overpass too.
I know.
It's just, that corner is a whole shit show for
somewhere
a variety
in Venice,
of reasons.
on the Speedway. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. All right. We'll make it a tier. Get ourselves a billboard.
It's not a bad idea. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for the show. What do you think?
I think so. I think we have meandered with our weird food. And
I think we need to turn on a fan.
And our really good, it's right above you.
Oh.
I don't feel that at all. I could turn it higher. But as we're saying goodbye to everybody, and thank you so much for listening and watching for our $1 and more patrons. Everybody who pays $5 or more, stick around because our bonus topic is coming up next.
For the $5 ballers.
For the $5 ballers. All right. For everyone else, we will talk to you next week. I'm Sarah.
I'm Heather.
Goodbye.